Wherever there are flowers and trees and grass, there is always a windfall land. And in every windfall land, you'll find windfalls. Hiding in this blackberry bush is a windfall called Berry. And here is his friend, Butterbur.
Today,
Announced Butterbur.
I'm going to discover what rainbows are made of.
How will you do that? Asked Berry.
I'll inspect it. That's funny,
Exclaimed Butterbur.
it's disappeared.
Well, let's go and look for another rainbow, suggested Berry. And the pair of them set off on their search. Berry and Butterbur soon discovered that finding rainbows wasn't that simple. And as they had a little rest, a windfall called Cornflower came along.
I've been invited to my friend Daisy, and she said I could bring others as well, so why don't you come?
Well, actually, explained Butterbur, we're doing something.
It doesn't look like it to me,
Laughed Cornflower.
We're busy searching for rainbows.
Said Butterbur.
Oh, can't you do that another day?
Asked Cornflower.
And come with me to meet Daisy instead?
All right, agreed Berry.
But what about our rainbow?
Oh, we'll look for one tomorrow, said Berry.
Come on, Butterbur.
And Butterbur reluctantly followed the others, who were looking forward to seeing Daisy. When they arrived, there was no sign of Daisy. The sun had gone in, and it had got very cloudy.
Where can Daisy be?
Asked Cornflower, worried.
Well, if she can't be bothered to turn up,
Moaned Butterbur.
we might as well go.
Wait a minute, said Berry. What's that over there? And there's something else as well, whispered Berry, just behind the bushes.
I'll go and see what it is,
said Cornflower.
It's Daisy, and she's fast asleep. Daisy, wake up.
But Daisy didn't even stir.
Fancy sleeping when she's expecting friends over,
complained Berry.
Well, I think,
said Butterbur.
that we should go back to looking for a rainbow.
But at that moment, it started to rain.
What a rotten day,
grumbled Butterbur.
We can't find a rainbow, Daisy's asleep, and now it's raining.
Well, we'll have to stay in shelter, said Cornflower. And as they waited for the rain to stop, Daisy slept soundly. When at last the rain did stop and the sun came out, they were about to leave when Daisy suddenly woke up.
Oh, hello,
she yawned.
have I been asleep?
Fast asleep, said Cornflower, and I've brought Berry and Butterbur to meet you.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
said Daisy. It must have been raining.
Raining? It's been pouring.
I thought as much, replied Daisy. Whenever it rains, I always come over tired and fall asleep. I really can't help it. I'm sorry.
I'll just have to call you my fine weather friend,
laughed Cornflower. Anyway, I'll be all right now because the sun's come out and there's a rainbow over there.
At last, exclaimed Butterbur. Now we can see what rainbows are made of.
But I know what rainbows are made of, interrupted Daisy.
You do?
Yes, because when I wake up after the rain, when the sun comes out, there's always a rainbow at the bottom of my field. So I can tell you, Butterbur, rainbows are made of raindrops and sunshine. And as they all admired it, Butterbur looked hard for the raindrops and sunshine, but all he could see was the beauty of the rainbow.
is rehearsing and showing her steps to Butterbur. Today, she has received an invitation to dance in Shady Wood, and it was signed Belladonna.
Never heard of her,
exclaimed Butterbur. Nor me, admitted Cornflower. It means beautiful lady, so she must be very important as well.
Why can't we all come and watch you?
Asked Butterbur.
Because you're not invited,
said Cornflower impatiently as she danced off. Butterbur was very impressed and straight away went to tell Uncle Onion all about it.
Cornflower must be quite famous, exclaimed Butterbur. She's been invited to dance at Shady Wood.
Oh, is that a fact? Said Uncle Onion, not particularly interested.
But the invitation was from someone called Belladonna, said Butterbur.
Uncle Onion was very worried.
Belladonna? Are you sure?
Yes, said Butterbur.
And the name means beautiful lady. There's nothing very beautiful about her, exclaimed Uncle Onion.
Do you know her then? Asked Butterbur.
No time to answer questions, said Uncle Onion. Just follow me.
When Cornflower arrived at Shady Wood, there was no sign of anybody.
Belladonna,
called Cornflower nervously.
Beautiful lady. It's Cornflower. I'm here to dance for you.
At last, a voice came from the shadow. It was Belladonna. Dance, she commanded. Good, my dear, said Belladonna. That was beautiful. Now, I would like to give you a present.
Oh, thank you, Belladonna,
said Cornflower. They are a special treat from me to all the birds in Windfall Land. It's my way of saying thank you.
Well, goodbye, beautiful lady,
said Cornflower.
I'll come and dance for you another day.
Oh, just in time, panted Uncle Onion.
Time for what?
Asked Cornflower.
To stop you eating those berries,
said Butterbur.
But why?
Insisted Cornflower.
Because Belladonna is another name for deadly nightshade, and her berries are poisonous.
Cornflower was shocked.
But she told me they were a special present for the birds. Oh, they don't harm the birds. But if you were to eat them, you would be a very sick cornflower indeed, stressed Uncle Onion. Oh, so that's why people call her Deadly Nightshade, said Cornflower sadly. Oh, well, I think you should still call her Beautiful Lady, said Uncle Onion kindly. After all, she did tell you that her berries were for the birds. Well, come on, cried Butterbur happily. Let's not wait. Let's give the birds their special treat right now. With love from Deadly Nightshade. Oh, I mean Belladonna.
All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers. Butterbur is feeling down in the dumps today because Berry has gone off on one of his trips to visit faraway friends, and it looks as if Cornflower may be doing the same.
Are you going on a day trip too?
Asked Butterbur. Yes, said Cornflower, to visit a friend living a long way away. See you when I get back. So Butterbur was left, wishing he could do the same, when he was joined by Uncle Onion.
What's wrong, Butterbur?
He asked.
Day trips,
said Butterbur miserably.
I want to go on one and visit a faraway friend, like Berry and Cornflower.
What's stopping you? Asked Uncle Onion.
Not having any faraway friends to visit. All my friends live here.
Well, go for a day trip on your own, suggested Uncle Onion.
I suppose it's better than nothing, sighed Butterbur. All right, I'll go on a trip and just pretend I'm going to visit a friend. And when I get to where I'm going, I'll turn around and come straight back.
So Butterbur half-heartedly set off on his day trip. And he walked and walked and walked till he suddenly stopped.
Well, this is where my day trip ends. I'd better go back now.
And after a quick look around, he started back on his journey home. But after a few steps, he cried,
Oh, my feet are sore from the walking. I'll have to have a rest. Oh, it would have been worth getting sore feet if there'd been a friend to meet me. Oh, I'm so tired.
And he couldn't help but fall asleep. He dreamt a lovely dream. I've been looking forward to your visit.
Oh, Butterbur, how nice to see you on your day trip. Bye, Butterbur. Please come back soon.
But when Butterbur woke up, he realized he'd been dreaming, and it was starting to get late. So he prepared to go sadly home when he saw a windfall. How nice to have a visitor, she said.
You've made my day,
exclaimed Butterbur. But it's not daytime, it's evening, and I've just woken up.
Woken up?
Yes, she replied. I prefer the cool evenings to the daytime. That's why I'm called Evening Primrose. But what are you doing here?
I'm on a day trip, all on my own,
answered Butterbur. Aren't you lonely? Asked Evening Primrose.
Oh, a bit,
confessed Butterbur.
But I wouldn't be if I had a friend to visit.
I'll be your friend, said Evening Primrose. Butterbur was so excited.
That's terrific. I'll come for a day trip tomorrow.
But you've forgotten, said Evening Primrose. During the day, I'm sleeping. It'll have to be evening.
That's all right,
said Butterbur.
An evening trip will be fine. See you then. Bye-bye.
When he arrived at his marsh, he didn't expect to see Uncle Onion waiting for him.
What time do you call this?
Grumbled Uncle Onion. I've been on a day trip, smiled Butterbur.
But when you left,
said Uncle Onion,
you said you were coming straight back. I know, but I met a new friend. So I suppose you'll always be off on day trips now, said Uncle Onion. Oh, no, exclaimed Butterbur. Evening trips.
And he told Uncle Onion all about his new friend called Evening Primrose. Windfall Land, where the Windfalls live, is a friendly place where everybody seems to know everybody. But today, a stranger has arrived.
Hello there. Berry's the name. I haven't seen you before. I've never been here before. I'm looking for somewhere to live.
Berry was amazed.
You mean you haven't got a home?
That's right, said the stranger. I'm homeless.
Berry smiled. We'll find you a home in Windfall Land. What's your name?
Rose Bay, said the stranger.
OK, Rose Bay. Come with me. I think you might like to live on Butterbur's Marsh. This is Butterbur's Marsh.
Oh, Butterbur's asleep.
Butterbur!
Oh, it's you, Berry, said Butterbur. I'm glad you woke me up. I was dreaming I was lost. Oh, I'm so glad I'm home.
I haven't got a home,
said Rose Bay.
No home? Well, come and share the marsh with me.
Rose Bay wasn't so sure.
You're very kind. Achoo!
She sneezed.
But it feels a bit damp.
What do you expect? Cried Butterbur.
Marshes are damp.
Then Berry had another idea.
Rose Bay might like the wood. I would.
She would.
Good, let's go. Where to? The wood.
And all three set off. They arrived at the wood. It was very dark. You could hardly see the sky. It was very, very scary. All you could hear was the cry of a bird. Rose Bay shivered.
I don't think I'd like to live here.
The others agreed, and all three crept very quietly away. So Rose Bay was still without a home. Even Berry was sad, for he felt he had let her down. Then Butterbur had a brainwave.
What about your place, Berry? It's not damp like my place, nor dark like the wood. It's very scruffy,
admitted Berry.
but it might do.
Once again, they went on their way. When they arrived, Berry said shyly,
Here's my home, Bramble Shrub. I'm sorry it's a bit overgrown. It's quite nice,
said Rose Bay.
but over there looks better. Does anyone live there?
No, laughed Berry. There was a fire and it burned everything that was growing.
I'd rather like that,
said Rose Bay. And with that, she surprised the others by going towards the wasteland.
This is where I'm going to live. It's my new home.
Berry and Butterbur soon joined her. Although pleased she'd found a home, Berry had a doubt.
Are you sure you'll be happy here? I mean, it's not very nice. I'll make it grow, and soon it will be green and beautiful again.
Rose Bay was right. The burnt land changed from being a wasteland into something quite beautiful, more beautiful than any of them had ever imagined. And Rose Bay called it Burnt Heath. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers.
Hello, Rosebay. Sorry I can't stop, said Cornflower. I'm practicing for Delphinium's concert this afternoon. Can I come? Asked Rosebay. You can, but only if you've been invited. Oh, I haven't, replied Rosebay sadly. I don't even know Delphinium. Never mind, said Cornflower. There'll be lots of other concerts. But Rosebay wanted to go to this one. Suddenly she had a bright idea. Perhaps Berry could help her. If he had an invitation, then maybe she could go as his guest. No, I haven't been invited, said Berry. I'm too scruffy for Delphinium. Here comes Butterbur, cried Rosebay. Maybe he's got an invitation. Hey, invitation to what? He asked. To Delphinium's concert in her garden. Ho, Butterbur laughed. She'd never ask me. I'm too wild. Oh, did she say that? Asked Rosebay. Well, no, admitted Butterbur, but I'm sure she would. Well, let's find out, exclaimed Rosebay. Come on, we'll all go and ask Delphinium for an invitation. She'll never agree, said Berry. We're wild Windfalls. Well, all we can do is try, said Rosebay hopefully. Come on, let's go. And as Rosebay led the way, the others followed, less enthusiastically. When the group arrived outside the garden, Butterbur noticed a gap in the hedge. Let's have a peep, he said. Everyone looks much grander than I thought, said Rosebay nervously. Perhaps you were right. We're not smart enough to go. Enjoying the party? Well, let's watch the concert from here, suggested Berry. We'll get a good view. Oh, someone's hat's blown away. I'd better get it, cried Rosebay. Ooh. You'll never catch it, Butterbur. You've got butter fingers. Leave it to me, cried Berry. There's my hat, cried a voice. Oh, yeah. I've got it, said Rosebay breathlessly. Could you bring it over here? Thank you very, very much. You and your friends are very kind. Come into the garden and join us. We're having a concert. Berry and Butterbur were speechless. We'd love to come, but we haven't got invitations. We may be too wild for Delphinium. Well, I have a surprise for you. I am Delphinium. And even if you are wild, you're still welcome. Delphinium's not like I expected, whispered Berry. No, I thought she'd be stuck up, added Butterbur, but she's not. Thank you so much for inviting us, Delphinium. We've never been in a real garden. The pleasure is mine, said Delphinium warmly. And I think the wild and garden Windfalls should meet more often and become friends. Don't you? And they all agreed that whether they were wild or from the garden, they were still Windfalls. And when the concert began, they all enjoyed it together.
Here is Stinging Nettle, and this is Doc. You'll hardly ever find one without the other. But today is going to be different. I feel like going out on my own for a change, announced Doc. No problem, said Nettle. You go along and have a good time. But I'm worried about leaving you. Why? In case I touch someone and give them a nasty sting? Right, replied Doc. Because I wouldn't be there to rub away the pains. Look, I give you my word, said Stinging Nettle. I won't touch a soul. Promise? Double promise. Good. I'll be off then. See you later. Ouch! Oh, I'm stinging and tingling all over, cried Butterbur. And I gave Doc my word, said Nettle. What will he say? Oh, dear. Never mind Doc, whoever he is, exclaimed Butterbur. What about me? I'm not going to let him get away with this, cried Butterbur. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. By now, Stinging Nettle was some way ahead, and feeling relieved to have escaped the angry Butterbur. Good afternoon, said Delphinium. I don't think we've met. Don't be shy. How do you do? Oh, help! You've stung me, she cried. You've stung me. But you made me shake hands, explained Nettle. Then he quickly ran away. Oh, help! Butterbur, someone's just stung me, cried Delphinium. Me too, exclaimed Butterbur. And I'm chasing him. Which way did he go? That way, and I'm coming too. Just wait till I find him. As Nettle made his way down the lane, he came across Uncle Onion. I was hoping someone would come along, said Uncle Onion. My old bones are stiff. Can you help me up? But Nettle just stood there. Not me. I'd only hurt you, and I'm already in trouble. You certainly are. You hurt me, cried Butterbur. I'm sorry, apologized Nettle, but you touched me. I try hard to avoid touching anyone. He's right, said Uncle Onion. I asked him to help me up, but he refused. Come to think of it, it was me who shook his hand. And me who bumped into him, added Butterbur. Ouch! But we've still been stung, haven't we? Ouch! Oh, if only Doc were here, sighed Nettle. And just at that moment, Doc appeared. Hello, someone in trouble? He asked. Doc, it's not what you think, cried Nettle. I did keep my promise. I didn't touch anyone. No, agreed the others. We touched him. All right. I believe you, said Doc. But who's been stung? I have, moaned Butterbur. How's that? Asked Doc, rubbing Butterbur's tummy. Better. Much better. And my hand? Cried Delphinium. Oh, what relief. Nettle, how does he do it? Asked Uncle Onion. Don't know. Doc, how do you do it? It's a secret, smiled Doc. Come on, Nettle. We'd better be on our way. And as they went, the others agreed that they'd never touch Stinging Nettle again, unless Doc was nearby. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers. Delphinium is expecting a visitor from town today, and the new gardener should have tidied the garden, but he didn't turn up, so Berry offered to lend a hand. "Well, it's all done," said Berry. "I'm sure your visitor will be very comfortable." "I hope so," replied Delphinium. "But it's very difficult to know the likes and dislikes of someone you haven't met." "Fancy having a visitor you don't know," said Berry, surprised. "Well, I do know his family," said Delphinium. "They lived here before moving to the town garden." "Where is town?" "Well, I'm not really sure. Anyway, they sent a message asking if Pampas could have a holiday in the country. And you agreed? That's good. I'll come by tomorrow and meet this Pampas," said Berry. "Bye-bye." "Excuse me, are you Delphinium?" "I am," she cried, "and I'm so glad to meet you." "Oh, thank you. Sorry I'm late." "Oh, not at all," cried Delphinium. "Now, how's your family?" "My family? Oh, very well, thanks." "Good. Now you must be exhausted after your journey," said Delphinium. "Take a rest in the shade before you do anything." "But I'm not tired." "Oh, I'm sure you're just being polite," replied Delphinium. "You must have a little rest. Sit down there."
I'd rather not."
But Delphinium insisted.
"Oh."
"Psst, I say, has your guest arrived yet?" asked Butterbur. "Yes," whispered Delphinium. "Pampas is resting after his journey." "Good. I'll come and see him later." "Goodbye." "Bye." Butterbur decided to pass the time by waiting in a nearby field, when something caught his eye. "Whatever is that?" cried Butterbur. "Is this Windfall land?" asked the stranger. Yes," said the surprised Butterbur. "What do you want here?" "Delphinium," declared the stranger. "I'm Pampas." "But he's already here," exclaimed Butterbur. "Impossible. I'm Pampas." Butterbur was in a dilemma. "Then there must be two of you, then." "There can't be." "Well, Delphinium will have to sort this out. Come on," cried Butterbur. "I'll show you the way." "Delphinium," began Butterbur hesitantly. "I know Pampas has arrived, but I've brought you another one." "Another Pampas?" she exclaimed. "There must be a mistake. The real Pampas is over there." "I'm not Pampas. I'm Foxgloves the gardener." "Why didn't you say so before?" exclaimed Delphinium. "Oh!" "I did try," cried the gardener. Suddenly, Delphinium realized her mistake. "I'm so sorry. Can you come tomorrow instead?" "Pampas, forgive this mix-up," said Delphinium. "You are very welcome." "Thank you very much," replied the real Pampas. "Well, I'll go now," said Butterbur, "and give you a chance to get to know each other. I'll be back at 4. "When will that be?" asked Pampas. "I left my watch at home. I can't tell the time without it." "We don't use watches here. The sun tells us the time." "The sun? How?" "I can see we're going to have to teach you a lot about Windfall land," said Delphinium. "For instance, the sun directly overhead means it's midday." And Pampas realized that life in Windfall land was going to be very different from life in his town garden. If there's one thing the Windfalls enjoy, it's a picnic. Today is picnic day, and Delphinium has made a special cake.
Thank you, Delphinium. We're all looking forward so much to this picnic, said Pampus.
Well, I hope it doesn't rain, replied Delphinium.
It won't rain, said Pampus confidently. The weather looks fine.
Off you go then, said Delphinium, and take good care of the cake. When Pampus arrived to collect Berry and Butterbur, he found them sheltering.
Aren't you ready for the picnic? He asked. Delphinium's baked us a special cake.
We're coming when the rain has stopped, said Berry.
But it's not raining, protested Pampus.
It will soon. Look.
Low-flying swallows, rain always follows. Didn't you know that? Said Berry. No, I didn't, said Pampus, and I don't believe it anyway. It's a perfect day for a picnic. I'm off to meet Uncle Onion.
But you must take shelter, insisted Berry.
Or Delphinium's cake will be ruined,
cried Butterbur. But Pampus wasn't listening.
It's time for the picnic, Uncle Onion, cried Pampus. We'll be late.
Picnic or no picnic, that cake will be spoiled by the rain, warned Uncle Onion.
I keep telling everyone it's not going to rain, repeated Pampus.
But daisies know better, insisted Uncle Onion.
There's an old saying, Pampus, the daisy is a weather vane. With petals closed, it could mean rain. Well, said Pampus irritably, if nobody wants to come, I shall picnic on my own.
And I'll tell you something else, continued Uncle Onion. Look out for singing blackbirds with their tails down.
Oh, why's that? Teased Pampus.
Oh, you'll find out one day. Perhaps sooner than you think.
When Pampus arrived at the meadow, it seemed a perfect day for a picnic. As he was about to take a slice of cake, he realized he had company. Pampus was thoughtful. Oh, what was that Uncle Onion said about blackbirds? Said Pampus. If they have their tails down, it means... Oh, I see why. The water runs off and they stay dry. Uncle Onion and all of them were right, admitted Pampus reluctantly. Now Delphinium's cake will be ruined. How am I going to keep it dry? Then he had a bright idea. I know, I'll copy the birds, said Pampus. It works. Now the rain's running off my hair and keeping the cake dry. But it was only a short shower, and soon Pampus was joined by his friends.
We told you it would rain, said Uncle Onion angrily. You should have listened to the old sayings.
Then our cake would not have spoiled, cried Berry. But it's not spoiled, said Pampus proudly. It's as dry as a bone. I learned from the blackbird's tail, and I did the same with my hair, like this, and kept the cake dry.
Well done, Pampus, cried Butterbur.
And what's more, laughed Pampus, I've made up my own old saying. When it's fair, brush up your hair. And when it's rain, brush it down again. And you know what? Said Pampus. It really is going to be a perfect day for a picnic.
What is that, Pampus?
Well, it's obvious. The daisies are opening and the swallows are flying high.
Oh, Pampus, you're impossible, chuckled Butterbur. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers. Springtime has arrived in Windfall Land. That's why Berry is very happy. But Pampas isn't so sure. "What is spring?" he asked. "It's a time of year," replied Berry, "like the summer or the autumn or the winter." "Oh, is that all?" cried Pampas. "I thought it was something exciting." "Well, it is, because all sorts of things happen in the spring." "Like what?" asked Pampas. Like the swallows arriving." "So what?" "So what?" exclaimed Berry. "They've just flown thousands of miles to get here. And look over there. See? Catkins. I'm sorry, but I really don't know what all the fuss is about. As far as I'm concerned, today's like any other day." Berry was losing his patience. "Well, if that's how you feel, have a nice, ordinary day. I'm off to enjoy it with Butterbur. He'll appreciate the spring." "Hello, Berry. I'm spring cleaning." "Did you hear that?" "Yes," said Berry. "The cuckoo is a real sign of spring." "It sure is. Diddle-diddle-dum-dee. I'll be with you in a minute." "You know, Pampas says the spring is no different from any other time of year." "What about spring flowers?" cried Butterbur. "Hasn't he noticed them?" "No, I think he goes round with his eyes shut," moaned Berry. "That's typical of Pampas, isn't it?" "Oh, let's forget about him," said Butterbur, "and just enjoy the spring together." Meanwhile, Pampas was thinking of what Berry had said earlier. "I still can't see what difference the spring makes. It's still the same old Windfall Land. And the same old windfalls." Then he noticed a movement. "I've never seen you before," exclaimed Pampas. "Well, I've come with the spring," she said. "My name's Daffodil. Who are you?" "I'm Pampas. Did you say you came with the spring?" "I did," replied Daffodil. "You see, the summer is too hot and the autumn and winter too cold, so springtime is perfect for me." "So things do happen in the spring," said Pampas. "Berry was right." Daffodil's eyes lit up. "I know Berry. I meet him every spring. Can you take me to him?" "Well, not really," said Pampas. "You see, we had a bit of an argument." "If you took me to Berry," replied Daffodil, "it would be a good way to make it up." "OK," agreed Pampas. "I'll take you. He's with Butterbur. Over at the marsh. Come on, let's go." "Daffodil, it's great to see you." "And you," she cried. "And Butterbur, too." "By the way, Pampas has something to say, don't you, Pampas?" Berry, what are you trying to say?" asked Berry. "I'm sorry," blurted out Pampas. "I'm sorry. You were right. Spring is a special time." Berry smiled. "I forgive you." "Hey, what's that?" cried Pampas. "It's a cuckoo," said Daffodil. "I can hear that. But what is a cuckoo?" "It's a bird. It's a bird." "And another sign of spring," added Berry knowingly. "And talking of spring," declared Daffodil, "let's all enjoy it together, 'cause it only comes once a year, just like me." "Oh, it's so noisy here," exclaimed Pampas. "I wish that cuckoo didn't quite so much." But the cuckoo wouldn't stop, because he wanted to make absolutely sure that everybody knew it was springtime. Pampus had not spent very long in Windfall Land. There were many new things for him to discover. Flying flowers, he cried. Fantastic! He was so interested, he hadn't noticed that Berry had joined him. What were you looking at? Asked Berry. Flying flowers, cried Pampus excitedly. Flowers can't fly, laughed Berry. They can. I've just been watching them. You must have imagined it, said Berry impatiently. I did see flying flowers, and I'm going to find someone who can tell me about them. Oh, Delphinium, for the first time, I've just seen flying flowers. Can you tell me where they come from? There is no such thing, Pampus, laughed Delphinium. But Pampus insisted. You see those flowers? Well, the flying flowers were just the same, except they had wings and they flew. Pampus, I'm delighted that you're taking such an interest in flowers, said Delphinium. But I think your imagination is running away with you. And talking of running, I'm running late. Bye for now. Oh,